goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine. Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
Oh man, Lane, I just thought of the funnies. Where's Lane?
I don't know.
Oh.
She got to episode 100 and said, fuck this shit, I'm done.
He's like, look, you motherfuckers. I'll get to 100 and then I'm done.
Well, she gave us the drunken speech at the end of the 100th episode live because she had drank all that mindful brewing and just said, you know what, fuck you guys. Fuck you, John, especially you fucker. And fuck you, Brian, you bald bastard. And we haven't seen her since.
No. I'm actually thinking about contacting Unsolved Mysteries, which there's a new version of that out now.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's on like True TV or Spike or one of those kind of channels.
Is it still creepy as all fuck?
Well, the host cannot match the Robert Stack.
No, it's the
Nobody can.
Robert Stack did not blink.
No.
Like the man would come out of the shadows and the mist, and he would not blink, and he would be the thing of nightmares for you.
Well, it was always like he was in some creepy, like foggy, abandoned train station. I wonder if it would work if he was just in Target in the produce aisle. A man goes missing, and he's like behind some bananas and kumquats.
On this new episode of Supermarket Mysteries, a kumquat went missing. It could be anywhere. Behind you, or you. Yeah. Gotta watch out for those missing kumquats.
But no, Lane, be perfectly honest, has a second job as a writer, and she was swamped. And she was going to be with us here today, but it was one of those things where it was put up or shut up time for her. And at the last minute, she had to bail out. So
I felt bad because I know she had thrown out a couple other times that we could record, but I mean, this week is especially crunchy and
for both of us,
for both of us. I mean, so it was like I can't really do that day, and I can't really do this day because I know she really wanted to be part of the Infinity War discussion that we're going to have. And this, just fair warning, this is going to be spoiler all over the place zone here. So
maybe we'll just give before the first spoiler comes out, maybe we'll give some kind of warning.
We will. We'll give some kind of warning. Before we get to that, I do want to remind you all, we do have a TeePublic store to get our merchandise. I know I got to do the merch plug here.
Get them t-shirts.
So if you saw some of the pictures that came from our live show, you'll notice that we were wearing Cinema Psycho Show shirts. You can get those at our TeePublic store. And if you go to TeePublic and you look at our store, or you can honestly buy anything, you can use our affiliate coupon code PsychosNation and get 25% off your order. Really good deal, honestly, in my opinion. So use the coupon code PsychosNation, get 25% off.
Wish I had used that code.
Yes.
Yeah, see, we're not asking you to do anything we haven't done. We had to buy our own damn shirts.
I did. I mean, what was nice was I noticed that I bought my shirt and it ended up getting a commission off myself. So it's like, oh, cool. I just contributed to myself. That $3 is going to be great for the hosting costs. So.
And hey, the challenge is still out there that if you come up with an idea for a shirt and you do some kind of Photoshop mock-up, I will get the shirt for you and I.
Shit.
Kevin, friend of the show, has already done some kind of fapping challenge. He's not sent it to me yet.
What is that?
He said he's basing something on fapping.
Oh, God.
I just wonder if Lassie's going to be a part of it.
Okay, here's what I need you to do, John. Okay. I want you to write up this contest, basically, and give it to me so I can put it on the website and promote the shit out of it. Okay. Because right now it's only, I listened to the show. It was in that one-off thing. But no, I'm really going to push this one now.
All right.
Challenge
accepted.
Challenge accepted. Cool. So as part of our little news bit today, we have a little bit of a preview of summer movies. Now, John, you looked into this, right?
Yeah, and you wouldn't know.
Because I didn't know shit.
Well, you wouldn't know it by looking out the window around here, but it is actually getting to be summertime.
Really? I just thought it was like rainstorms and shit. Because before that, it was...
The sky is pooping.
Before that, it was freeze your fucking face off.
Yeah.
And now it's just rainstorms and allergy madness.
You know, I don't want to hear anybody like cheering when it's super warm in late November, because this is what we get on the other end. So
That's right.
But yeah, according to Hollywood, I guess the summer movie season now starts in April. But
they keep moving it back. Like I remember when April and March were dead zones for films.
Yeah. Well, and the big summer movie came out 4th of July weekend, and there were some in like June that were kind of big, but the big one was 4th of July.
Batman was June 19th.
Yeah.
And that was literally like the start of the summer movie season. I always thought, like, because I think the first Batman you had like Batman, Last Crusade, there's Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, 89 was a big year.
And then UHF.
Well, and Jason Takes Manhattan.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, I kind of got the Big Ten here. I also predicted, I think, what they're going to look at box office wise. Brian, should I go bottom top?
Let's do bottom top. Yeah.
All right. So once again, because apparently, if you keep going, he'll keep making them. We have yet another Mission Impossible. I think this is what 9, 10. Mission Impossible 12. I don't know. What are they on now?
Aren't they just going to call it like Mission Impossible Running?
Well, it's the most inconsistent franchise I've ever seen, because some people mention that each one is a different like theme. Like you have your Brad Bird one, you have your Brian De Palma one, and they're all so different from each other. How can one franchise be never consistent and people just eat it up?
I honestly, I've been done with Mission Impossible since Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, I
like
saw,
that was the last one I saw.
I think I saw the first 3. When does Simon Pegg come into it?
He comes in. He came in with Philip Seymour Hoffman. I believe.
Saw that one, whatever that.
Yeah, see that's the
they're
problem.
all blending together.
No, but that's part of the problem is that these movies, you know, they have these bizarro names like Ghost Protocol, or I don't know what this one's called, is like Ghost Republic or some shit like that. It shows you how much research I've done.
Mission Impossible Casper, the Friendly Ghost.
Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Well, that's what they started doing.
Yeah.
But you know, they blend in so much that you're just like, I can't tell where one sequel ends and the next one begins. It's like the human centipede of franchises.
Well,
you're not going to get that out of your head now. You're just going to see a bunch of
I just imagine a bunch of Tom Cruises, with their mouths under their buttholes. Thankfully, he eats a kale smoothie diet, so it's not so bad.
Just slides right through.
But I'm sure this one's going to really switch it up, and they're going to have Ethan Hunt get disavowed by his government and have to go rogue to solve a mission and then be wanted by...
Is it Rogue Nation?
Rogue, yeah.
I think it's Rogue Nation. I think that's what it is.
We really need to check this.
We really do.
You know, so there's nothing completely different from what they've ever done before. Got to throw this one in there because it's got Rock, the Prophet Gain Johnson.
The Prophet Gain Johnson.
Mission Impossible, I think.
Fallout.
Yeah, Rogue Nation, I think, was the one right before this. I don't know anymore. Well, I think 185 million for Mission Impossible. I think people are going to finally be done with this. That's still a decent enough profit, but probably won't even probably make its money back. Now, these are all United States box office. I'm not trying to go worldwide here. I
am waiting for the Mission Impossible geriatric Fallout, where you just have Tom Cruise in a nursing home.
One thing I will say about that crazy man, he does still look good. Like he still looks young. You know, he's only like 5'2", but he still like looks like he can pull this off, and not like Roger Moore in A View to a Kill.
That's true. It looked really bad.
But Skyscraper, The Rock's big movie. Nobody asked for this. Nobody really wanted this, but here it is.
What is Skyscraper about?
You know, that movie San Andreas, I think that made a bunch of movies. So they said, instead of an earthquake, let's just have a building collapsing and The Rock saving people. So I imagine if you end up watching San Andreas and Skyscraper like back to back someday, first off, why are you doing that to yourself? And secondly, this is the same goddamn movie. They just replaced an earthquake with a skyscraper.
Right.
But it worked with Bruce Willis, I guess. So
I guess.
Yeah, so I think 165 million will pop in on that one. For some reason, in the middle of summer, we have Hotel Transylvania 3 or 2.
Why?
Yeah.
No, we're on 3 now.
3, yes, that's right.
Yeah. Why? There's no need
'Cause?
for them. No, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
We'll just have it come out in like October. That's when, if you want to go to a family film that's holiday themed, there you go.
well, here's the thing, and this is the cynic in me talking right here. They have these movies come out in summer so they can put them on rental in October. See?
That's not so cynical. I think that's just
That's
probably how
business.
that will break down. Yeah.
It's just
Own it right
business.
time for Halloween.
But that's seriously what they do. You
Kids
know?
finish trick or treat and they watch that and get loaded up on sugar. And,
There you go.
Yeah.
Diabetes ensues.
That's the tough thing when there's like a Christmas theme movie and then comes like March, it comes out on DVD. It's like, I don't want to.
I remember that with the Christmas Party movie that
Yeah.
came out in the summer, and it was either like late summer, like around August, so that it automatically came out on video, in December,
So
November.
when you're at the Red Box or whatever.
Yes, so you're like, oh well, I need a Christmas movie for that Christmas party I really don't want to go to. Oh, I guess I can get Christmas Party the movie.
It's a fitting.
Sure,
fitting
it's
addition.
not really fitting.
I think $200 million for this one. Animated movies still make money, but
They do.
I think it will probably break even, and I think this will finally be the straw that breaks the Adam Sandler back.
I really hope
in
so.
Hollywood.
I really hope so.
It's this franchise is the only thing that's keeping him alive. It's it's Netflix other than this.
What was the franchise he did with Kevin James?
Oh God, he did
With
a lot
with
him.
Kevin James and what the fuck?
Well, Pixels. Kevin James was the president.
Right,
So
we
suck
don't
on that.
need to talk about that. But there was a franchise he did where he like went to camp and like it was all of his grown.
Grown Ups.
No, it wasn't Grown Ups.
Was that what you're talking about?
Was it Grown Ups?
Yeah, well, they did 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah,
with Chris Rock, David Spade.
But basically, what they did was they took Grown Ups and said, "Let's take Grown Ups and let's make it animated and make it with horror creatures," because that's basically what Hotel Transylvania is. It's the exact same people that were in Grown Ups, but now they're in an animated movie.
Oh yeah, he really knows how to scam the system and get all of his friends
Yeah.
work. Sadly, people that are much more talented than him, like David Spade and Chris Rock, but somehow Adam's the key holder to everything.
Just
So
like,
go-
I have a great idea. Let's do a hotel in Transylvania with Dracula and the Wolfman and a mummy and this, and it'll be for kids, but it'll be scary. Not really.
Skibbity-doo-dah.
Skibbity-doo-ba-doo-doo.
Yeah, I liked it when it's called Monster Squad when we were kids.
Damn right.
Of course, Marvel can't rest on their laurels.
Nope, not at all.
Ant-Man 2.
Not Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Ant-Man 2, Inner Space.
But yeah, I don't. This one is surprising. I really think that I've been reading a lot that this Ant-Man 2 movie is going to be a necessary
They have to
bridge
have it.
between. There's something's going to happen that's going to play off in Avengers 2, and that's literally the only reason because no one was clamoring for Ant-Man 2, which is a shame because it was one of my favorite Marvel
I
movies.
liked Ant-Man a lot.
And after
A lot of people didn't, but I liked it.
And after coming off of Avengers Infinity War, it seems strange to go to Ant-Man 2, especially that soon.
Well, what was nice about Ant-Man? It was the first one to not take itself seriously.
Yeah.
You look at all Iron Man, you could say, kind of takes itself seriously, kind of doesn't. But Ant-Man was basically designed to be goofy as shit. And then you see it at other movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that kind of followed in its wake, like Guardians of the Galaxy, Thor Ragnarok. Was basically following in its wake of not taking itself seriously, and even in portions of Avengers Infinity War where it's not taking itself seriously.
Right.
Which those were some of the best parts in the movie. We'll get to that later. But yeah, I always liked Ant-Man as a character. I thought he was I thought Paul Rudd did a great job with him. So I'm looking forward to that movie. They got my first crush, Michelle Pfeiffer, on there. So
She doesn't crack.
no, she doesn't.
I think this movie would have done better. I'm going to say it's going to make $300 million domestically. I think it would have done better if it wasn't. It was late August or early September. Yeah. But I think between
this is July, right?
Yes, July 6th. Yeah. So between the Incredibles 2 and Avengers still being in theaters and the Han Solo movie, I think it's going to get eaten up a little bit.
It depends. Because the Han Solo movie is going to be That comes out later this month, so it'll have at least a month and a half under its belt at that point. People might be tired of it.
Possibly.
So if that's the case, then really its only competition might be Incredibles.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And then the movie that I thought was a parody when I saw the trailer, Jurassic World 2.
Oh my god. What did you refer to it today as? You on Facebook you called
Jurassic World 2, Goldblum's Paycheck.
It's so true.
I mean, the man looks like he gave more effort in the Independence Day sequel.
Seriously.
And it's like, why are you phoning this one in?
It's like, well, I needed work between Thor Ragnarok and my next picture. And
Life finds a way.
life finds a way. Money.
Yeah.
Money right now.
Quit requesting your paycheck right after you deliver your lunch. We can't edit around that.
Well, he just, what the first take was, he had a shirt that was printed from TeePublic that said "Life finds a way."
Nicely done.
He just pulls it out and goes, "Life finds." He doesn't even say anything. He just points to his chest,
Then holds out his hand.
and it's like, "Yeah, you know what I need now."
I think this one's going to get a lot of bad word of mouth. Like, I'm already saying that it's a piece of hot garbage. So I'm going to say this one falls to 375.
I think it's going to have a steep drop off. I really think that.
I mean, China, it's going to make a
Oh,
killing.
yeah.
The movie's still going to make like 800 million worldwide.
The Transformers movie's sole existence is because of the Chinese market.
Right.
Okay. So I think that it'll have a good opening weekend. It won't have a great one. It'll have a good one. And then it'll have a steep drop off by the next weekend. And the Chinese market will, take up majority of the box office hold.
Ocean's 8, which I am not overly interested in, but I was not interested in the original Ocean's 11
Same
or
here.
the remake, so I'm not really overly interested in this one. An Ocean 11 con men should be men. They're sad. No,
No,
I wonder if this is going to have that Ghostbusters thing. I wonder if they're going to.
I don't think it will.
Yeah.
I don't think it will because they aren't trying to shoehorn it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I saw the trailer for Ocean's 8, and I was interested. I really was like, okay. Because I did like the original Ocean's 11 trilogy. I thought that it was a great ensemble cast, even if it does have Casey Affleck in it. But, yeah. But, I mean, I like the idea of getting those types of, like, an ensemble cast of characters together. For a heist movie. That's always a fun thing to see. So I think it'll be fun because it isn't really... It's not going down the Ghostbusters route of relying on that fan service. Like, you're not getting George Clooney in this. You're not getting any...
And it's not as huge as Ghostbusters.
No, it's not. It's not as... Like, I don't know that many people who are like, oh my god, like, I'm dressing as Danny Ocean for Halloween.
Ocean's 11's my jam, man.
It's like, okay, I'm frosting my tips like Brad Pitt in Ocean's 12. No one gives a shit. Okay, I'm going as Gaston Lafleur or whatever. Oh, what? All right. Well, that's a little, specific. But there isn't as much fandom regarding that franchise to really cause a problem. Plus, I mean, the actors they have in this are actually pretty good. Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchett, I mean... bunch of other ones. Rihanna, I think, is in it, which the last thing she was in was
Helena Bonham
Carter's in it, her crazy ass, and Rihanna, the last thing she was in was what, Battleship?
Oh god.
But hopefully she's got better acting chops since then.
In my prediction for the number 2 grossing movie of the summer, Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the people, and I don't mean to be all hipster about it, but I saw Incredibles and I was like, that was pretty good. Whatever.
Same here. I was
people just shit their pants over this movie.
Well, I mean, I liked it when it came out, and I was like, oh, that's actually a good movie. Because at the time, Pixar was only creating, like, Cars and Toy Story and really nothing else. I mean, they did Bug's Life, and that was it. So, like, to see them make Incredibles, like, oh, this is actually really good. Where's the sequel coming? And that's what I always thought was like, oh, when's the sequel coming?
Only 13 years
and
later.
And it never came.
Yeah.
So I think that's the thing, too, is that you had people who really dug the movie, and it was set up to be basically a trilogy. or at least have a second movie, and it never came to fruition. And now that that's actually happening, people are all up in arms about, like, oh my God, this is great, so I get that,
Yeah.
But I do know people who are like, oh my God, it's the greatest fucking movie. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah. I think it's going to make $575.
You actually have specific numbers.
At domestic box office, I think, because it's going to appeal to people that grew up with the first one and want to go see it, but also then little kids who just think it looks cool. So they're going to get the adult and the kid audience. And I don't mean necessarily together. There's going to be 30-year-olds going to see it, and there's going to be parents taking their 5-year-old as well.
Yeah.
All right, and the big top 3 here. Ham Solo, a Ham Solo story. Yeah.
I'm sensing a little anger there.
Oh, this is going to be so bad. This is where the wheels come off the Disney train, I think.
Oh, you mean Last Jedi wasn't the wheels coming off the Disney train for you?
I mean, it was a polarizing movie, but I would still say it was 60% beloved and 40% and it still made $1 quadrillion. So Disney sees that as a success.
It depends on who you ask. I'm part of a Star Wars Sith posting group on Facebook.
Go on.
And I basically joined it just because I was like, oh, I might need to join a group to promote the podcast. I think we were having an episode about Star Wars coming out. And let me tell you something. They are some butthurt fanboys. They find the worst memes ever to describe this. Like they're saying things like, oh, George Lucas is God, and just really like weird memes regarding Star Wars to defend. Like there was a couple where they're like, Kathleen Kennedy fucked over Star Wars, and I'm just like, no. I mean, there's choices there that were wrong. Yeah, I'll give you that.
They didn't fuck over Star Wars. They fucked over The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
All the things they set up in that movie, they're like, psych, just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I understand the frustration. I really do. I also look at it from, and I mentioned this in our review of Last Jedi, that it offered a different take on Star Wars that maybe the vast majority of Star Wars fans weren't quite ready for. They weren't quite ready for maybe a more adultish movie rather than just, people fighting with laser swords. I think that's part of it, because Force Awakens was very much a, hey, here's your member berries in an IV for you for the next 2 hours.
And a lot of people said they had to play it safe for that one.
And I said it too. Yeah. I said their sole job with The Force Awakens was to get rid of the bad taste of the prequels out of fans' mouths. And they did that. But the idea was, what the fuck do you do next? So yeah, with Solo, I haven't really been following it that much, to be perfectly honest with you. Other than just the drama that we had talked about, like Ron Howard stepping in because apparently Disney didn't like the previous director's vision.
Well, and the guy that plays Han Solo had to take acting classes while they were working on the movie.
No, he didn't.
Yes, they brought in a special acting coach, but did not just him say, "Hey, try this little." He would go into a trailer and she would teach him how to act. And this is the guy they cast as Han Solo. What is wrong with you?
I'm calling it right now. Donald Glover's going to steal that show. He's going to be the one gem
Lando's
in the shit sandwich that is Solo, that they're going to just be like, yeah, aside from him, everything was terrible. Because he is cool. Donald Glover is a cool motherfucker. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm going to say it's probably going to be a Boba Fett thing, too. He's going to be in the movie just enough to make you want more Lando, but and that's gonna be it. He'll be in some cool scenes, but he won't be into the movie much, and it'll leave you wanting more Lando.
Yeah, you'll be like, why don't you just change the name of this to Lando?
Yeah, why don't you just make a Lando movie? I want to see how he stopped being a scoundrel and started a government in the sky.
That's right. And I want to see where he got his android guy from.
If you want to just say oh, we got to have him war with another sky city so we can have robots and lasers in the sky, then go nuts. But apparently inner office politics of government building doesn't make for a good Star Wars movie.
Not really.
I think this will fall a little short of Incredibles, $525. Being Star Wars is still going to make a shit ton of money.
It will.
Deadpool 2, which I'm very excited about.
Good reactions so far from test screens, which I was concerned about because I remember reading articles about how the studios were worried about Deadpool 2 because I guess some of their internal screenings showed that people really didn't like it. But when they did recent screenings, they found that people really loved it.
Deadpool 2, that's got to be such a hard movie for test audiences.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you don't know what you're getting into, like, this is crass, or why is he being so ironic? Why isn't he like Iron Man? You know, it's...
Why isn't he like Iron Man?
Why isn't this like Batman or Superman? Like, it's got to be the hardest movie to test.
It's like, shut up, Grandma.
Yeah. Why'd you bring your 9-year-old here? I wonder, I hope the Deadpool thing doesn't run too thin. Like, I wonder... Yeah, this one will do well, and it's not going to. But I wonder by Deadpool 3, are we going to be a little sick of Deadpool?
My hope is that Deadpool 3 completely lambasts the whole trilogy curse, where most people say that the third movie in a trilogy is arguably the worst one.
Yeah,
and just plays to every single trope. I have a feeling that might be what they do to kind of infuse a bit of freshness in it and kind of, turn it on its head by completely making fun of the fact that it's a third movie.
385. I think
385?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then coming in at a whopping $785 million domestically. I think it might even be lowballing that. Avengers Infinity War, which leads us into our episode for today.
Mr. Transition. Yeah, Avengers Infinity War Part 1.
Yeah, so I'll just get this
warning ahead of time.
Yeah.
The next maybe 40 to 50 to 60 minutes are spoiler-filled minutes. So
yeah, and it's erratic. We don't know when we're gonna just throw a spoiler.
There might be a spoiler bomb thrown around that you might not know. So if you have not seen the film, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's 3 weeks after the fact that it came out.
Oh, God forbid, that they don't just go rushing out to feed Marvel in their drug pushing ways.
I'm not going to advocate for piracy, but piracy. But I'm just making a point that we had gone back and forth and thought, should we do a spoiler-free episode? And we realized that if we had done this maybe 3 weeks back or 2 weeks back even and not had our 100th episode, then sure, we probably would have done that. But we figured that by the time this comes out, which is going to be on Sunday, that's 3 weeks since the movie came out. So hopefully you've seen it. If you haven't, you might have already seen articles on the internet about some of the things that happened. But if you really haven't seen it,
if you haven't seen it, pause this episode,
absolutely.
Like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends all about it. Then go see the movie, and then come back and listen, and then listen to our back catalog. And buy a t-shirt.
And buy a t-shirt. And tell us how much we're full of shit after we rip this movie apart.
Yeah.
So that's fine too. But yeah, Avengers Infinity War.
Well, and
where do you start?
I'm just going to get this out of the way right away. Okay, and I don't know if a lot of these people are just drinking the Kool-Aid of everybody else online or what is, but everybody's been talking, this is the most epic, amazing movie ever, and all I could say was, as I'd mentioned with The Incredibles at the top of the show, it was all right. It was pretty good. I was entertained. I wasn't blown away by anything, and to be perfectly honest, Black Panther came out in the same year, was a better movie.
Here's the thing. My wife is someone who is able to come to that conclusion way faster than me. It's a talent. Like we came out of the theater and she automatically said it was a great movie, but Black Panther was better. And I loved Avengers Infinity War. Do not get me wrong, but in terms of narrative storytelling, in terms of really hitting those cinematic notes that resonate with an audience, Black Panther was above and beyond that. In terms of effects, Black Panther loses out to Infinity War, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. Even though they threw $1 quadrillion at Black Panther for their effects,
they threw $2
quadrillion.
But in terms of everything else, I will say Black Panther was probably a little bit inched up in terms of quality compared to Infinity War. That isn't to say Infinity War was bad. No, it was great. I had a great time watching. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and I was falling around everything. There wasn't any time I was going like, okay, this is too long. And that's really the fear I had when I saw the runtime was going to be almost 3 hours. Was, am I going to be sitting there going, are we done yet? And I wasn't.
Yeah, it was either going to drag or you're going to get a headache from all of the 360 action sequences and no cost on anything.
Did you see it 3D?
Yes, but not because
not because you
required,
wanted to,
but because by the time I could get up to the movies, it was like, okay, I could either wait an hour and a half for the standard showing, or I could just pay for the 3D.
You love how they get you with that?
Yeah,
they're just like
there wasn't even anything really 3D in it to really. There was one time something kind of flew out of the screen. I think it was when they exploded the ship at the beginning.
Yes.
And that was like, oh, that was the only time that there was really any.
Well, they don't shoot this shit in 3D. They shoot this stuff in standard, and then they run it through a stereoscopic, process
to jack up the ticket prices.
To jack up the ticket prices,
But yeah, we start right off the bat with this and if you haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, then I guess you're confused.
Not really. I would say you'd be confused about the location. So just to kind of reference here, the first scene takes place on the Asgardian, I guess you could say, lifeboat spaceship. At the end, that has survived the fall of Asgard in Thor Ragnarok. So that's basically where we're at. I'm not going to go through the whole process of Thor Ragnarok. You can watch it. It's a great movie.
Thor quips a bunch, beats up a fire monster, meets Jeff Goldblum, goes back to his home planet to kill his sister, which
pretty
he
much
does.
Yeah,
and the whole Jeff Goldblum thing was pointless. There, I just filled you in on Ragnarok.
There you go, pretty much.
McDonald's of their Marvel movies.
I loved Ragnarok, by the way. But basically, this is at the end credit scene in Ragnarok was that Thanos' ship had encountered them. So we're picking up immediately after that. Thanos has decimated at least half of the Asgardians. I found that out. It wasn't all of them. It was half.
Which they have the balls to do now because they're done making Thor movies.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what was nice is Marvel actually had some balls and killed some motherfuckers.
Yes.
And this part, I'm not talking about anything else yet.
But I think that's all based on contracts. Like, Tom Hiddleston's not going to come back. And
Idris Elba.
Well, we can kill him because he won't come back anyways.
Idris Elba isn't coming back.
Yeah.
So Thanos asks, Loki for the Tesseract, the Space Stone. And Loki, I would say he redeems himself as a person in the Marvel Cinematic Universe by completely sacrificing himself, basically.
Well, Loki's had more face and heel turns than Big Show.
He has. He really has.
I'm a good guy. I'm a bad guy. I'm a good guy.
Yeah, but this was like a genuine, I'm a good guy now.
Yeah, he was trying this. He was trying to kill Thanos, which I compare him to the California Raisins ball bags.
Thanos in his ball bag chin.
Yeah. He just looks like a big raisin testicle. Yeah. Which I gotta hand it them for him being completely CGI.
Oh my God.
It worked.
There was not a time that I'm sitting there going like, I knew it was CGI, but at the same time it was like, it was great acting on the part, and the performance that capture they did was fantastic.
And you gotta wonder why DC sucks so hard when you see Steppenwolf in the Justice League movie. It was the fakest looking thing I've ever seen.
It was last year. Yeah. And it's like, what, a year later, we got to the point where, it's almost indistinguishable.
Yeah.
So basically, Thanos gets the Space Stone. Loki sacrifices himself, trying to take him out, and it doesn't work. Thor's in bondage because Thanos has with him a gaggle of minions called the Black Order. Okay,
look like catfish, kind of.
They kind of do. And this is the one part where I'll say the CG is not great for them.
Well, and
you knew they were the B squad.
Agree with that. And I think it's annoying that he even has an army because there's nothing that he can't kill or destroy. He's all powerful, but he has to have an army because we need action sequences.
Well, we
need Iron Man blowing up.
It's not just that. It's part of the canon in the comic books.
Right.
He has this Black Order. It's kind of thing. So they do exist. They're not just made up for the sake of the movie. And it kind of makes sense. Thanos, the Infinity Stones are spread across the universe in certain places, so he can't be everywhere at once.
And we should, we should point out the whole Infinity Stones. And Thanos has been teased since Avengers 1.
Oh, yeah.
So
This has basically been a 10-year cock tease.
Yeah, and just you constantly see him at the end of these movies, like you're halfway through the credits. Well, I guess I gotta kick some ass, and then he never shows up.
Yeah.
And finally he shows up, and it's a shame that they do this, but like you have to have seen like all other 18 of these movies to really know what's going on. And
I don't think you have to.
Well, I mean, because he's wearing a big glove, and he needs all these Infinity Stones in order to be the most powerful being in the universe. But what are Infinity Stones? Well, Vision has one in his head, and Doctor Strange wears one around his neck. And like, if you skip Doctor Strange, you probably wouldn't know.
Not necessarily, because there are scenes in this movie where they do give the backstory that we've already had. Like when Wong is explaining the Infinity Stones, they make mention of the different types of stones, including Doctor Strange. So, I mean, you can go into it would absolutely help you. If you're a fan of this stuff, then yeah, you're going to get it. But if you're not, and this is the first time you've seen a Marvel movie, you're not going to be left in lurch. You will get scenes which do explain things, but it might just not resonate nearly as much with you unless you were a fan who'd be like, I remember that. Like when he talks about I decimated Xandar for the Power Stone, and you're like, oh, fuck, what the fuck is Xandar? All you would know is that's a planet, and until you realize, oh, that was the planet that was the main crux of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So that means Glenn Close is dead.
Oh, sorry, Glenn.
Oh, sorry.
At least he didn't get shot in a bathtub this time trying to bang Michael Douglas. Spoiler alert for Fatal Attraction.
I was going to say Ant-Man 3. But no, so to kind of get back to where we're at, Thanos basically kills Loki, kills Heimdall. Hulk gets his ass beat.
Yeah, because
in
Hulk
a rare
is still with them.
Moment,
Yeah, the only time that Hulk is ever gets his ass whooped.
And it kind of causes him to have, I would say, Hulk erectile dysfunction.
That's exactly how I was going to put it.
Through the rest of the movie. Like
he can't get his Hulk up.
He can't get his Hulk up the whole rest of the movie.
Because Hulk won't come out the rest of the movie because he's afraid. Because he's never been defeated before.
Just imagine Bruce Banner's with Black Widow, and he's like, I'm sorry, my Hulk won't come out tonight. But, so Hulk gets his ass beat. Heimdall uses the Rainbow Bridge, because apparently he can just summon it at will. That was something they didn't really explain. I thought the Rainbow Bridge was something that was only in Asgard, but I guess he can just summon it. So he transports him to Earth.
Well, Mario and his buddies were driving their carts.
That's right.
Just nearby.
That's right. Yeah. But he crashes into Doctor Strange's, house. And that's where the movie really starts. I mean, the beginning credits.
And the movie did a very good job of handling everybody.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one of those things like nearly every X-Men movie should be called Wolverine and the X-Men, which I know was one of the cartoon shows, but that's really what those movies should be, because they're all about Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then, Cyclops is in it for 10 minutes, and Storm has one quick moment. But it's really just about Wolverine. This movie does a great job. It doesn't focus too much on Iron Man or
No,
Thor.
It doesn't.
It's balanced throughout all the characters, because they all play some kind of part in this.
Would you say it's perfectly balanced? Perfectly balanced. That balance is something that comes up in this movie quite a bit. Yeah. But I will agree that they gave every character that we had followed for 10 years a great amount of screen time, to the point where we were fulfilled. Like, I was fulfilled with Guardians of the Galaxy, the way they made reference of a lot of the comedy that they bring to it. And that, I thought those moments combined with this new type of Thor that we have from Ragnarok, which is, doesn't take itself seriously anymore. I thought that was great. Like the moments where Thor's, conversing with Rocket and saying, "Oh, you must be the Captain Rabbit," and
calling him Rabbit,
a rabbit, and then the Star-Lord's going into a mimicking battle over him because he feels inadequate compared to Thor, the pirate angel. Those moments were great, and you could tell that was what the movie needed. Do we want to go scene by scene?
Well, I think we can kind of like break things down in kind of chunks. There were times
a lot
in the movie like where there were characters I wanted to be with, and others that not so much. Like when Thanos comes to Earth, of course he lands in New York City. It's because Doctor Strange.
There's no other city on Earth.
Well, he's probably coming for old Doctor Strange, but and Iron Man, who now it basically...
Well, it's not Thanos. It's his, army of minion. Ebony Maw is the minion who comes and gets him.
But now Iron Man, who apparently can make an Iron Man suit out of his clothes, because why not? Like, he just has to have something new technology-wise.
That's, one of these sequels, it's going to be Iron Man's suit comes out of his penis.
Or he is the Iron Man suit now, and he transforms into Tony Stark. It's like, this is my Tony Stark suit.
His AI became sentient in his suit. Just rips his flesh off.
Yeah, with like Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man up on the ship. Like, I enjoyed being with them. I enjoyed being with the Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor because they meet up. But then when you get like Captain America going to the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters and like, can we go somewhere else with this? This is kind of boring.
That was the one thing that I felt they didn't do too much with, and that was with Cap's character.
Yeah.
They kind of reserved him for the small little political roles that they want to throw in there to reference Civil War.
Well, the tricky thing is he's still a domestic terrorist.
He kind of is.
Yeah.
He's a good domestic terrorist. Don't get us wrong here.
Yeah.
We appreciate Captain
He's like the
America.
rebels in Star Wars.
He pretty much is, But, I felt that was the one caveat that they really didn't. And I'm hoping that this, gets kind of retooled for, the Avengers 4. But that they really didn't give Captain America enough to do.
Yeah. And that'll work itself out. The thing with this movie is because all these other movies have led up to it, it's almost a shame that it's like a first act that goes into a third act. It's not a complete story. It's all set up to a very elaborate, explosive ending. And I don't mean ending in like the last 15 minutes. I mean the last hour and 15 minutes of the movie.
Pretty much.
So there's not even really that much to break down because it's filling in all the necessary pieces. Like, we need to go find Vision because he's got one of the Infinity Stones. And then there's a big action scene in, what are they, in France?
They're in Scotland.
Scotland, that's right. And then there's a big action scene where they destroy a bunch of property in Scotland, and then they get away, and then...
Captain America shows up, and one of the best reveal scenes in Marvel cinema movies, Like, when he shows up, like, you've got Scarlet Witch who's battling Proxima Midnight. That's the Thanos minion of the hour in that scene. And you just see the shadow of Cap just behind, I think it's a bunch of trains or something like that. And then she throws her spear at him. He catches it, and then you just get that music. And he comes out and you're just like, fuck yeah!
Yeah.
But...
But, I didn't feel, and it's funny because of how the movie ended, but I didn't feel there were any, giant stakes here in any of these. And I feel that is how Marvel has constantly tried to make each one of their movies, more fun and silly. No,
there were some big stakes in this movie.
But did you really feel any tension, like The Dark Knight, where,
that's a hard movie to compare with. I don't think you can. That's comparing apples to oranges, in my opinion.
They're both superhero movies.
They're both. Well, you and I have both said that The Dark Knight is not really a superhero movie,
right?
So I think it's hard to compare that movie. I would say that the thing I liked about this movie was that there were some stakes involved here. We did get some deaths. We did get consequences of actions here. And in a movie cinematic universe in which that rarely happens, where pretty much you're just like, oh, well, those are the good guys. They're always going to win. This was the first time they didn't. And it also harkens back to my theory about this movie that Thanos is basically the hero in this movie. I don't say that for his motives. I say that for it's his movie. He's the hero.
Yeah, I'll one up you. He's the protagonist.
Yes.
Because the protagonist does not always have to be a hero.
No.
Yeah, he's the main person in the movie, and it's actually funny because if you look at, once again, I'll mention The Dark Knight, the Joker's really the protagonist in the movie, because the definition of a protagonist is that they have a goal and they set out to accomplish that, and then the antagonist gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
So in many ways, the Joker is really the protagonist and Batman's the antagonist.
And honestly, I felt
Knight.
that was very much the case with this.
Yeah.
I mean, you had little stories here and there that had their own kind of thing, like the whole stuff with Star-Lord and Gamora. That part was interesting, but I'm like, that's one aspect of it. But really, the movie is about Thanos and his motivations, who he is, why he wants to get the Infinity Stones, and what his beliefs are. He literally comes at it from a standpoint of my planet destroyed itself because of overpopulation. And instead of, looking at life as something that's precious, he's looking at it from a standpoint of overpopulation is slowly going to kill all of us. So wouldn't it be better if we indiscriminately just destroyed half to make the rest of the other half live better lives and more prosperous lives without the doom that comes from overpopulation? That's his main thrust for wanting the Infinity Stones, wanting to be the most powerful thing. Which,
makes him a complicated character instead of, I just want $1 billion and a laser.
But that's the thing is Marvel has had a track record of creating these villains that are all mustache twirling assholes. With the exception,
or just plain forgettable,
or just that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what the motivation for Malekith from Thor: The Dark World has. Why he wants the ether, other than I want to make the world dark again. It's like, that's not much of anything.
Mickey Rourke and Iron Man 2. What is his name? Sparky Plug. Something like that.
That was his name.
I've got some zappies on my arms. Zappy.
Well, he killed you. You killed my father. How? Well, he drunk himself to death. That's not my fault.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
That's not how any of that works.
That doesn't work that way. But it was nice to see them really flesh out a villain, and make him the protagonist. So you haven't seen anything like that since really introducing Loki as a villain.
It was interesting too that I kind of really felt that he was the Guardians of the Galaxy's villain, more than anybody else's, because they're the only ones that consistently mention him,
right?
And in those two,
they
movies.
have a history with him.
Yeah,
I mean, the only other person who might have more of a history with him is possibly Iron Man, mainly because he did have those visions of this coming to pass, and he even said himself, "I've had Thanos in my head for 6 years." Since he went through the wormhole in the first Avengers, so
we get a lot of different characters, different scenarios. It was kind of refreshing that they didn't, except for when you kind of get to Wakanda, which was shoehorned in there because it needed to be, because Black Panther made $1 trillion. They didn't really come together much until kind of the very end. And it still wasn't all of it.
I don't think it was shoehorned in there for any reason. I think it's called they needed some other location to have a battlefield at. And New York kind of had been done 1 million times over.
And they needed that sweet Wakanda,
they did.
Free medicine, that free healthcare they got going on there.
Right.
They can do more than others out there. But the battle sequences I thought weren't terrible. It wasn't like Avengers 1 where it was 3.5 hours of blowing up space bugs, and
Oh, come on. You didn't like that? You didn't like a little Starship Troopers thrown in with your Avengers?
It was kind of Starship Troopers.
It was.
But yeah, they handled everything so precisely.
Yeah.
It was... There are movies out there where even, God forbid, DC movies, you say to yourself, they failed, but at least they, went out there
and tried.
Yeah, these movies are just so algorithm-y.
Yeah.
I don't even know who directed this movie.
Avengers?
Yeah.
Russo brothers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
Because they broke Joss Whedon.
They broke Joss Whedon.
He couldn't do it
they
anymore.
couldn't go back to the director's store to get a better Joss Whedon. So they're like, well, we broke Joss Whedon, so let's try to balance the load and just get 2 directors to do it.
Yeah. Well, without Joss Whedon, at least the dialogue was a little more believable.
Oh my god, the dialogue was amazing.
Yeah. But like I said, so we get one giant first act that leads into a continuous third act. Did you feel that the movie was a little too action heavy, or do you think that's what people really come there for? I
didn't think it was action heavy. I really didn't. Compared to other Marvel films, I didn't see it as incredibly action heavy. I thought it was very much a plot driven. Point A has to happen before point B. Point B has to happen to lead to C. I mean, it was very much a plot driven movie.
I would say
as most of these are.
That point A has to lead to point B.
Yes.
To point C. There wasn't any kind of deep story. It was just like, this is going to happen because of this, and this is going to happen because of this.
You had scenes that were, I call faux deep, like faux, like that sort of thing.
FAUX.
FAUX, mainly as, hey, we're going to add a little bit of a drama to these scenes, like the whole scene with the Soul Stone. That whole thing was designed for drama. Like, basically, that's exactly what it was. What I'm referencing is when Thanos gets hold of Gamora, his...
Spoilers!
I mean,
we're getting into
on.
death. Big death number 2, I would say.
Big death number 2. Yeah. Okay? If you're counting Heimdall and Loki as death number 1.
You put them both together.
That's right.
Nobody really cares about Heidenreich or whatever the fuck his
Heimdall. Heimreicher? Where the fuck are you getting that from?
It's a wrestling reference.
But anyway, it's mentioned that Gamora knows the location of the Soul Stone. So she gets very anxious about the fact that Thanos is going to nowhere where the Collector is at, who has the ether or the reality gem from Thor: The Dark World. Okay. So they go to nowhere to try to stop him from getting that gem, and this is where Gamora and Star-Lord meet Thanos for the first time in the movie in person, and Thanos basically takes Gamora with her, and this is where we also get the mention of his grand plan of wanting to kill half the universe to save the other half. So Gamora knows where the location of the Soul Stone is, and takes him to I can't pronounce the name of the planet, but it is basically a realm in which a guardian guards the Soul Stone, who ends up being, this was great, Red Skull.
Because
Because
he's somebody that is huge in the comic books that you haven't seen for movie after movie after movie. So that people will go and point at the screen.
I loved it. I was that asshole who pointed at the screen and was like, "Fucking Red Skull, yeah!" Because for the longest time since I saw Captain America: The First Avenger, I said, "There's no way Red Skull's fucking dead. There's just none."
Well, isn't he kind of dead?
No, he's not.
He's like in a other dimension kind of.
He's not dead. He was transported to this realm in which he is basically cursed. He quested for the Infinity Stones. The Space Stone, the Tesseract, was what he wanted, and he wanted that power of the gods. And he's now banished basically to a realm in which he's the guardian of a stone he can never have. That's hell. and basically in this scene, it's the turn for Thanos.
Well, interestingly enough, Red Skull, real quick, he was played by
Hugo
they couldn't
Weaving.
get Hugo. It wasn't him.
No, it was someone else.
It was an actor from The Walking Dead.
Yep.
Who I've seen his videos online, like he does a series where he does like impressions, and he'll do like 25 impressions in a row. And I guess this is just one of the ones he could do very easily. And they said, well, we'll have you believe Red Skull.
I mean,
you can imitate Hugo Weaving almost.
He did.
perfectly.
He did it. Actually, I thought for a minute, I thought there was Hugo Weaving until I looked at the face, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, what else do you got to do, Hugo? Go collect that Marvel paycheck.
I think they get these big name actors who do one or two, and they're just like, they don't like the factory feel of Marvel.
Yeah.
You know?
One day he's like,
which I get it.
Sign this 12-picture deal. It's like, well, wait, 12?
Wait a minute. That's a lot.
Because I think when they tried to get Chris
Evans.
It was originally, I think, like a 16-movie deal. Oh, and he was like, guys, I'll never do another movie ever again. And they were like, okay, 12. And I think eventually he talked him down to 8.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then they signed up Sebastian Stan to do the rest of the movies in which you're just like, oh, so that's who's going to take over Captain America.
Who plays Bucky in the movie.
Plays Bucky.
Yeah, so eventually you have to do a huge sacrifice in order to get the Infinity Stone.
You have to sacrifice a part of your soul, something you love, to get the Soul Stone.
To which Gamora's like,
she does. She goes, you don't love anyone, and then he starts crying, and you realize, oh shit, he loves you.
Yeah, because he raised Gamora. Like, I figure if you're listening to this, you probably know that. But just to be safe, and I thought this is actually a very cool character development for Star-Lord when she says earlier on, like, he may be able to get to me to get to the stone, so you have to kill me to protect the universe. And the idea is that Peter has always been a character that runs away from things. He has since he was a child. Yeah. And for him to actually go to shoot her, and
this happens back in nowhere before the scene happens, but yes.
Yeah, and it turns out the gun is fake because, you know...
The reality stone.
Ballbag is just fucking with everybody. Thanos.
Ballbag.
And just creating...
Blue balls.
But, like, he made the choice, and I think that will be interesting to see where his character has to go from there for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I'm sure is coming out. Because he kind of went where his character eventually needed to go, but now where does it go from there? But... Thanos just tosses a bitch off a cliff.
He does. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I want my fucking Infinity Stone.
I think she's another actual dead.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if, do they tell the other filmmakers this? Does like James Gunn sitting around and go, oh, shit! And then they're like, I gotta rewrite the movie!
well, you know, I think that's part of the reason why they threw the whole fact that they're in a relationship now instead of waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, because I think they had to put that in there because they knew they weren't going to get her back. You know what I mean? Like Star-Lord is probably going to come back, but Gamora's fucking dead,
and it leads to them kind of ganging up on Thanos to try to get the glove.
Yes.
And this is where the internet's been going crazy because Star-Lord finds out.
Just to give a little background on this, while all this is going on, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Iron Man are stowed away on one of Thanos's, smaller spaceships that are going back to his
submarine yachts.
One of his submarine yachts that's going back to Titan, which is his home world. And, you know, they defeat Ebony Maw, who's one of Thanos' minions, and they're going back and they're realizing, hey, we gotta come up with a plan. This is where they also they meet the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they come up with this plan of basically, all ganging up and using their own individual strengths against Thanos to at least get him subdued enough so they can remove the Infinity Gauntlet, because if he doesn't have that gauntlet, if he can't snap his fingers, if he can't clench his fist with it, then he can't cause any sort of harm. And they almost succeed. Except Star-Lord, in his grief of realizing...
gets all pissy.
...that Thanos killed Gamora, completely botches the whole plan. He does.
Yeah. Which... regresses his character.
Yes, it does.
Because they kind of need to get it back to where it needs to be for the which is so strange because the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are all about family, how you can find it, and about how they still had ways to go of learning how to live with each other.
Yeah.
This broken family. But yeah, well, now one of them's dead, though, I guess. So it kind of disrupts the Guardians of the Galaxy movies a little bit. But yeah, the internet is...
Well, I think Infinity War disrupts a lot of movies.
Yeah. But there is a point that we kind of skipped over where Doctor Strange is having a conniption fit. And they find out he's like, I just looked at 8 quadrillion possible outcomes of all this. It's like, well, how many times did we win? 1. So, yeah, he's able to see all the...
He literally looks like he's having a seizure.
Yeah.
Like, I saw it, I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing?
I sometimes feel like Doctor Strange has every power that the plot needs. Like,
yeah.
Well, wait. Okay, we need somebody that can do this. Well, Doctor Strange, he's magical. Just give it to him.
He's Of course he's magical. Why wouldn't he be able to do that?
Which he had a lot of screen time, and I thought his character was a hell of a lot better than even in his own movie.
Yeah, they fleshed him out better in this one than in the previous films.
Because Doctor Strange, I thought, was just Iron Man with magic.
Yes, and in the first movie he was in, yes.
Yeah.
In this one, they did. I think it's mainly because of the fact that you did have Iron Man in this, in which you have to differentiate the two types of personalities there. You know, with Tony Stark, he's always been an asshole whose brain kind of gets in the way of his humanity, almost. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's almost smart to a fault, whereas Doctor Strange was an asshole, realizes he was an asshole, and uses his gifts mostly for the benefit of humanity. You know, so it's really, how do you have these two assholes in the same room together and not have it seem like, hey, I'm looking into a mirror, you know?
Yeah, and I think all that time, like, you know, reading all his ancient texts and learning all of what he can do with his robe
and
his hand
he is the master of the mystic arts now.
Yeah,
so
yeah, he's really toned himself down. But, you know, the movie, just to jump to the inevitable conclusion here, we get the huge battle in Wakanda because they needed to get Vision, who almost had the Infinity Stone pulled out of his head. They need to go and get him medical care, which then and only Wakanda can do it. It's interesting how they layer these things.
They're just like, well, let's see. Is this a message on healthcare in America? I'm sorry, these American scientists can't help you. You got to go to the third world to get your medical.
There you get your real care.
You get your socialized, of course. But yeah, I found it funny that you know, Vision is considered one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he kind of was just like punked out in this movie.
Yeah,
I mean, really punked out.
A big problem I have with a lot of these movies, and not just Marvel's, you know, because I say Marvel, I should say Disney's, because, you know, the X-Men, this happens quite a bit too, which I know is also Marvel, just owned by the film rights owned by a different company, is that you never really know what the limitations of a lot of these characters are. I don't really know what kills Hulk. I don't know how powerful Captain America is. I don't know, like, if he gets shot, does he get shot like me? Well, does he take a bullet a little better than I don't know what.
Captain America doesn't get shot.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't. You don't really know what the consequences are, and especially somebody like Vision. So I'm glad that he wasn't just all powerful, because I don't know exactly in the movie version, not the comic book version, but how powerful Vision really is.
He's a very powerful being.
Yeah.
You know, compared to other characters, mainly because of the fact that he has that Infinity Stone in his head. But I did like how they incorporated a lot of the characters that we grown to like from Black Panther, and not necessarily expanded on them, but just, you know, gave him enough good screen time.
This is what's weird about Marvel. When I went to see Avengers, the movie theater I went to still had Black Panther on like 3 screens. I could go. It was playing, you know, in the same movie theater.
Right.
I'm like, wait, there are other movies still in theaters, and this one's out. Like I just met these characters. And here we are.
That's the fun time where you like say, hey, I'm going to go watch Black Panther, and I'm going to run down to theater 3 and watch Avengers.
But just something that before we get to the end here, we do need to mention that Thor is on a side mission with his rabbit friend,
his
Yeah.
Thor likes to find weird creatures to have buddy cop dramas with. You know, with Ragnarok, it was Hulk. In this movie, it's Rocket and Groot.
Yeah.
His best
Teenage
friends.
Groot. Yeah.
Teenage Groot, who's an asshole.
And they're trying to build an axe that will, the MacGuffin axe.
Oh, it's the the MacGuffin axe, the Destroyer of Thanos axe, also known as the Stormbreaker axe, and you can only get it made in the realm of where his hammer was made. You know, in the Forge of a Dying Star, which is run by Peter Dinklage.
How did you feel about this?
I fucking loved it.
I did too. He's a giant.
I fucking loved it because when he said, "Oh yeah, it's run by the," he said it was like you thought you were getting little people.
Yeah.
You know, like when he said, "Oh, it's run by the," I think it was like gnomes or something like that of the Forge. And you're like, "Oh, okay." And I saw Peter Dinklage. I'm like, "Okay, they're gonna make him little." No,
he's ginormous.
Ginormous. And he's just, I love this line. The best line, one of the best lines in the whole movie is when I think Thor says something along the lines of like, "Well, I'll try not to die."
No, it's if you take the full force of a star, it will kill you. Only if I die. Yes, that's what killing me.
That is the best line in the whole movie, bar none. Are those couple lines there? Yes, that is what killing you would do.
So he gets his MacGuffin sword. You know, that's where Thor's been this whole time, and old Thanos is collecting those Infinity Stones like going out of style. You know, I really thought, since no matter what Marvel says, this is a two-parter. I thought he was only going to get like almost all of them.
That's
or
what
half
I thought
of them.
too.
He fills that glove the fuck up.
Yeah.
And at the end of the movie, after they dispose of all of his critters, Thanos' critters, they all start attacking him, and it does nothing.
It's
does nothing.
it's not. Well, he's coming after Vision.
Yeah.
So that's what happens is he gets Doctor Strange's time stone. And this is interesting because Doctor Strange said to Tony at the beginning of the film that he's charged with protecting this time stone at all costs, and he doesn't care if Iron Man gets killed. He doesn't care if Spider-Man gets killed. He's like, no matter what, I have to care for this time stone. So one of the theories that a lot of people have in regards to the future of this movie is that Doctor Strange in his visions saw that the only way of defeating Thanos is if Tony Stark lived, and that if he were to die, that if he
well, does the movie outwardly say that? Because I kind of pieced that together, and we're getting to the very end of this, but I kind of felt that they're going to elaborate more on that in the next movie. But he was that's why he told Thanos to let Tony live.
And that's the thing. And that's what I'm saying.
But I don't think the movie actually outwardly says it, does it?
No, it doesn't. Yeah. But my summation from the movie is what would cause Doctor Strange to decide to give up that time stone for someone he just met. You know, and who he at the beginning of the film said, "I don't really give two shits about you. You could live or die. I don't care. I have to protect this time stone."
And they were kind of frenemies, anyways.
They were. They really were. So that's my thinking, is that somewhere in that you know, when he's analyzing all the different scenarios, that single scenario is if he gave him the time stone and Iron Man lived. That's the only way that they could stop Thanos in the grander scheme. Okay, so we're getting now past towards the end where Thanos has.
And did you think that Tony Stark was going to die there? I thought he was actually going to die.
No, mainly because I saw the Avengers 4 set photos and saw that he was there.
Okay. So, well, that'll do it.
I knew he wasn't gone.
Here are reasons why I thought, A, they needed something huge for this movie. But B, I also thought, well, they don't want to have to pay Robert Downey Jr. $50 million for the next one.
Yeah.
And I hate to, once again, as we said countless times in this episode, I hate to be cynical about it, but they gotta save that money wherever they can. The guy, like Robert Downey's like a quarter of their goddamn budget
It's true.
to make this goddamn
It's
movie.
true.
But yeah, so I thought he might actually be dead. But yeah, after the nonstop action sequence, which wasn't as terrible as
it was well balanced.
Yeah.
For the film, and it didn't feel like Transformers. Like, Transformers gets the rap, and it's a true rap of basically being nothing but a nonstop action film with nothing else thrown into it, no substance. This had substance with action scenes kind of to highlight. That's the way I always felt it was. So towards the end of the film, Thanos has.
So I would say that
Am I skipping over parts?
Well, no, I would say this movie had action sequences with story scenes to highlight.
Really?
This really was a lot of action, and I'm not really complaining, but like this was just one action set piece after another, after another.
I didn't see it that way. Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm comparing it to other Marvel films where they were more action heavy. Like the first Avengers movie was very action heavy. And the second one was extremely action heavy.
Yeah.
More so than I think either of these three movies.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I felt that the action was properly paced. I didn't think that it was too much at any time.
It wasn't like Batman Forever. Where, why are they having this Batmobile chase with Two-Face? Because
how can the Batmobile...
The studio said we needed
my favorite is, why is the Batmobile now climbing up buildings?
Because it'll look good in the trailer.
Because it'll look cool.
Yeah.
That's it. But anyway, we're getting towards the end of the movie here. Thanos has 5 of the Infinity Stones. He needs the final stone, which is in Vision's head. Throughout the whole course of this movie, Vision and Scarlet Witch, you find, are having a comic accurate, relationship.
Giggity. Which was good of them to make him look more human, so it wasn't weird like she was fucking a dog's penis.
Let's be honest here. She was fucking a dog's penis.
Just a big red rocket. You know what I mean? Like a charming English one at that. But
do you think his O-face caused sparks to fly out?
I'm sure. I bet he politely is quiet when he comes, and she only knows because his Infinity Stone flashes. Oh, it's blinding.
Hey, point that thing somewhere else. I saw what you did to War Machine.
Oh, sorry. I just made ejaculate.
I seem to have ejaculated. Oh, don't worry. Those are nanites.
Yeah. Would you like me to grab you a towel? Maybe a scone.
Yeah, but throughout this whole movie, they have this back and forth relationship in which Vision basically says, hey, you're going to have to kill me. Because
we get the reverse now.
Because it's the fact...
Of the Gamora and Star-Lord situation.
Yes, and it's mainly because only the power of an Infinity Stone can destroy another. And Scarlet Witch, her powers are derived from the same Infinity Stone that Vision has. So it makes sense that she is the only one who could destroy it. So while Thanos is coming after Vision, every one of the Avengers is trying to stop him. And you're just like, you fucking can't. Like, it's not going to happen. Even Captain America gets whipped by like a bag of old potatoes.
Well, it's weird that he was like leading the charge, because I kind of thought he's like the weakest of all of these characters.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But good on him for not letting that stop him from just like charging into battle.
I mean, he held his own for about a solid 5 seconds before he was thrown like a sack of potatoes.
I've got a shield.
Yeah, he didn't have. He had gauntlets. Those weren't shields. But so he's coming after Vision, and Scarlet Witch decides to make the agonizing choice of destroying Vision and the stone using her powers. And you're thinking for a minute, oh yay! That's a typical Marvel movie. Hey, he doesn't get it. Oh, what are we going to do now? No. Well, that's not what we get at all.
Well, then Thor comes in like a motherfucker and just stabs.
Well, that was before this. But yeah, Thor comes in again, one of the best entrances with his giant ass fucking lightning bolts.
Thor knows how to make an entry.
He does. And, you know, when you have Thanos decides that he's going to use his time stone that he just got to reverse time and bring back Vision before he gets killed. It's like, psych, audience, you thought he was going to lose. No, wrong. And he fucking rips that stone out of his head and throws Vision across the plane, and puts that final stone in. And now he is as powerful as a god.
Yeah, I think you're out of the franchise now. Sorry, Paul Bettany, but there's always Wimbledon too.
Dead. I mean, yeah, I think you're fucking dead at that point.
Maybe Da Vinci Code 2.
And of course, at this point, this is where Thor does throw his Stormbreaker and mortally wounds Thanos. I think he really is injured, you know. However, Thanos says you should have aimed for my hand.
Yeah.
And he snaps his fingers. And which the whole screen goes white. And it's quiet after that. Eerily quiet. There's no music, there's no nothing. You just hear Thor saying, "What did you do?" And you start seeing everyone disappear.
And he did it almost like Christian Bale's Batman. What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this whole ending scene would be more impactful for me if they didn't take out obvious characters that are... If they tried to leave it a little more ambiguous and took out like less popular ones or ones that don't have movies coming up right away. Because like obviously this is supposed to be very impactful as Thanos won and half the population is dying off, and they're in most of these characters.
Well, it's not even just they're dying off; they're ceasing to exist.
Yeah, just turning into dust,
like literally just dissipating.
Dust in the wind, dude.
Seriously, like they all start dissolving into dust, and you're not just losing like people you don't give a shit about. No, you're losing real characters that you spent 10 years following. None of the original Avengers, of course, but everybody else.
Yeah, see, and when they killed off Black Panther, like, I mean, obviously I didn't believe it in the first place, but when they killed off Black Panther, like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
I thought they should have killed, like, War Machine. And I mean, there had to be bigger ones than War Machine.
He did. I think War Machine did that.
he survived it.
War Machine did?
Yep. Yeah, at the very end. He's kind of, like, looking around. He's like, here you go. What the hell just happened?
But Spider-Man dies.
Yeah, but like they should have kept Spider-Man alive because they just bought that property, and they should have kept Star-Lord and Black Panther alive, because I think you would have maybe fooled some of the audience. Like you could have killed Batista, you could have even killed Captain America, and Black Widow, and people might have been like, oh, they might actually be gone. Yeah. But when you kill Black Panther, when that movie just made $8 billion worldwide, it's like, well, that's not. They'll reverse this.
I think the problem is that modern day Hollywood, it's hard to really, especially with these movies they're really all franchise based. It's hard to say, oh yeah, this is for reals, because we can look up and see, we can see Chadwick Boseman has a contract for 3 of these movies.
Yes, this early in next year, the next Spider-Man comes out.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, well, what do you mean he's dead? You're not really dead.
Yeah. Maybe I think like next Christmas, Guardians 3 comes out.
Yeah, that's my point. Is he really dead or not? So you see a lot of these characters that you've kind of spent time with, completely disappearing, and it's a shock. Like when I first saw it, I was just like, holy fuck.
Well, it's too bad she's not here, but I'll just tell the story on it. Lane audibly gasped when Black Panther died.
Oh yeah,
because I think just to see him just cease to exist is like, holy shit, like the stakes here are pretty high.
Yeah. I was really taken aback by it, and the best part is that Thanos says that when he's done with everything, he'll go back to a planet and just watch the sunrise, and that's exactly what he does, and that's how the movie ends.
The movie ends all very artsy fartsy, where it's like
the whole
baby
movie
Gamora is there.
Yes, yes, baby Gamora's there. And I've seen interviews and tweets about this, but a lot of people believe that he's actually inside the soul gem. That's why it's orange. That the soul gem is actually kind of like a pocket universe.
That would make sense.
That would make sense.
I did not put that together. You just helped me uncover that.
But that's kind of what he's done. Like a part of him is inside the soul gem, which makes sense. But what left me when I watched when I finished the film was, where the fuck do you go now?
Yeah,
and that's something that with these movies I haven't really experienced. It ended on such a gut-wrenching punch to our and this is taking the whole cynical outside Hollywood nature of this into context here, but it really had me think, what the fuck do you do now? What's the next step forward? So that's what I'm curious to see what they do in Ant-Man and Wasp and how they address it.
That has to, I imagine the events are going to happen either simultaneously with the Avengers or right before it. Yeah, because it can't be like, because I saw the trailer. I think they threw the Ant-Man trailer up for Avengers, obviously. And it was just like happy-go-lucky. It was in the same vein of the first Ant-Man, Thor Ragnarok and stuff. You can't like, half the world just died. Yakety schmackety bee. It has to be
schmackety.
It has to be like right before Thanos comes down, because they mentioned, he's on house arrest, and I imagine maybe whatever he does in this movie is what got him on house arrest. Either
that, or it's something on the lines of like, it'll take place maybe like the main narrative will take place right before, and then like the end credit scene will be right after all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's the one thing they'll give you of right after that. But what's important is the end credit scene in this movie.
Which I did not see.
You didn't see it?
No. I had to take a piss. I mean, I'd see it online or something.
Have you actually seen it already?
I did not, actually.
So I'm going to blow your mind right now.
All right.
Okay, so the end credit scene, you have Nick Fury and Maria Hill, who are driving in a car. One, you're like, why are they S.H.I.E.L.D.? S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist anymore. So they're driving in a car and they're talking about the shit going on. And as this happens, and they're talking also about the battle in Wakanda, and as this happens, you start seeing cars in front of them start crashing because they're disappearing. The people inside of them are disappearing. Maria Hill disappears. She turns to dust. And Nick Fury pulls out a beeper, like a shield beeper.
Like a boss.
Yeah, seriously. and as he's disappearing, you can see him pressing this beeper, like almost like alerting something. And I think he says motherfucker instead, and it dissipates right as he's about to say fuck. And I'm like, fucking Samuel L. Jackson, of course he's gonna do that. Yeah. And as he disappears, the beeper drops to the ground, and our camera goes down and looks at the beeper, and it flashes with the Captain Marvel logo and colors. So Captain Marvel, who's going to be played by Brie Larson, that movie I think comes out next year. So right before Avengers 4. So the idea is that Captain Marvel is someone who actually could take on Thanos because she's so tied in with the cosmic universe in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And it gives him a chance to get yet another Marvel movie out before...
Damn right.
Gotta
get that money.
Yeah, because we can't live in a world where there's not a Marvel movie every 3 months.
No, we can't. Not anymore.
As a father, how did you feel about that ending in terms of... Because there probably was kids ranging from 3 to...
the kids in front of me loved it.
They weren't freaked out by all these characters just dying off.
I mean, granted, they were like 10.
Yeah.
The best part was there was this dad who took like a gaggle of these kids. It had to have been
a school of kids.
A murder of kids. But he had to have taken like, I'd have to say probably 6 or 7 of kids. Yeah. And you could tell by the end of it, like he's sitting there in the row in front of us, and he's just like, I fucking had it with these kids. Like they were slapping their legs and like jumping all over the place, and I'm like, kids, we're trying to wait for the fucking end credit scene, okay?
Yeah.
And just like, shut the fuck up. We all got to get through this, okay? and the dad just you could tell he was getting angry. Like,
That's why, like,
really, really angry.
That's why with these kind of movies, sometimes a Tuesday at 10 a.m. is a great time to go see.
Oh, yeah.
Or 10 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it's a weekday and either late or early where the kids aren't in the goddamn theater. Or ruin your experience.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised they didn't have, like, that James Bond thing, like, where the Avengers will return or to be continued or something.
You don't know.
Well, that's... Okay, let's talk about the big Marvel scam that...
After we just spent an hour and 24 minutes talking about Marvel, let's talk about the big Marvel scam, please.
Well, 20 minutes of that was our summer movie preview. But they did originally call this Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2.
Yes.
And then they backed off on that.
Yes.
And like, no, this isn't a two-parter. It's they're just individual Avengers
That's bullshit.
movies. Yeah,
That's complete and utter bullshit.
And
you filmed them at the same time. Like, they actually did film them at the same time.
And they claim that the title for the next Avengers movie, Avengers 4, is like a spoiler. So I don't know what it's gonna be called, but that's their excuse.
Avengers Vengeance.
Yeah. No, this is a two-parter, and I know that you guys don't want to be compared to Twilight, but that's what this is. You know, it's the Hunger Games, it's Harry Potter,
Matrix.
Yeah.
It's the Matrix too. You know.
But and then also a lot of the scenes in the trailer just weren't in the movie. You know, they used a lot of Hulk in the advertising, and
I actually I liked that they did that, because there have been many times when I've seen trailers and I've seen a lot of the promotional materials which it gives away the whole fucking movie. So it was nice to see that there was a bit of surprise going in. You know, that you didn't necessarily know everything about it. And like for me, I thought, hey, you know, Hulk's going to be the one to take down Thanos because he's in majority of the movie, right? But no, you find out he's got impotence and can't, you know, get his Hulk up. You know?
My gamma ray is just it's not it's unglamor ray. I can't get it
seriously.
Yeah, it's a bold choice is actually, I don't even think that's true, because they're just gonna retcon everything they did, and they've already, obviously it's already been filmed, like, and everybody's gonna live except the ones, like specific ones like Loki and Gamora are probably dead for sure. Probably Vision probably is, but everybody else that died at that end is just gonna be back.
I don't think everybody comes back though.
Who do you think, other than the three I mentioned, who do you think is dead for sure?
Who I think will be dead at the end of Avengers 4?
Yeah.
I think Tony Stark's gonna die. Either die or have that wedding. I think Cap's fucking dead. I really do. I think I think they have to have one of the big three, Thor, Captain America, or Iron Man, bite the bullet. I have a feeling that they're going to let Iron Man live, mainly because of the fact that he mentioned in the beginning of the film that he was getting married, Pepper Potts, and that he imagined he was going to have a son named Morgan.
Oh yeah, the
and that
ending
is pulled from the comics.
The ending to Avengers 4 is going to be Tony Stark's wedding.
Yes.
That's going to be the last scene in the movie.
Yeah, but I really have a feeling that it's probably going to be Captain America that dies.
Probably. Now, I'm about 95% sure this isn't going to happen, but I did have, when I was trying to fall asleep one night, I thought, fans are clamoring for Miles Morales to be Spider-Man and have a black Spider-Man. What if Tony Stark was to die, Peter Parker took up the Iron Man
mantle,
and then Miles Morales became Spider-Man? Now, obviously,
possible.
So it's like, so now you're getting an African American Spider-Man, and you still have Iron Man, but he's about 30 years younger than.
But I don't think Peter Parker can really be Iron Man.
I don't either. I just thought that might be, they might try to check off two things at the same time. Keep the Iron Man movies coming without Robert Downey Jr. Like I said, I'm about 99% sure that's not going to happen. But I
have a feeling that Robert Downey Jr., he's so ingrained in these movies that even though he says, hey, I'm done, I don't buy it, just because it's very easy for him to say, hey, yeah, I'll do a cameo.
Yeah,
in a movie, like it's easier for Robert Downey Jr. to do that than Chris Evans.
I think I think the studio might be more done than him. But if it's just a cameo and say, oh, we'll give you $2 million instead of 60, like then you can come back. So we might see him, even if it's even like dream sequences or flashbacks,
right?
you know.
But I don't see them doing that with Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans is pretty much just like, this is a great ride, but I want to be done now.
Well, it's so strange. Like, the best Marvel movies were the Captain America movies, and they had nothing to do with Captain America. They were just good movies, almost in spite of him.
I thought that, I always felt that he, basically created a fantastic version of the character. Like, prior to Chris Evans doing it, the only Captain America I ever had reference to was the one from 1990. Seeing him actually come to life on screen was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see where this goes. They're at an interesting point right now where they have Ant-Man and then what? Captain Marvel, and then the Avengers
4,
and then they'll get back on their one movie every month train, and we'll be back to normal.
I think the Avengers movies themselves will be done. Like, I don't think we're going to get an Avengers 5 or anything like that. I think we're done with that.
It might be like Saved by the Bell in the new class. We might just get like Avengers, but it won't have Captain America or Iron Man in it. And maybe like, how when everybody else left the Happy Days set, Henry Winkler was still there. Like, they might still have Thor. Like, Thor will still be there, but everybody else will be new.
Yeah.
Or the lesser played characters. So we'll have the Avengers without, Tony Stark and But the thing is, a lot of people said that, to get back to the very beginning and just kind of wrap this up, that this movie was so epic and so amazing. Like, I was thoroughly entertained, and and even more than that, I was very impressed on how they were able to handle all these characters and to not lose any, I don't know, rhythm's the right word. Like, I didn't get bored with the movie, and I wasn't confused or like they just got so convoluted or anything like that. So my kudos to them on that, and I had a very good time, but this movie isn't going to resonate with me on my dying, deathbed, like, oh, Citizen Kane or even like Logan or Dark Knight, if we want to talk about comic book movies. I'm not going to look back on this one with fawning memories. I had a good time, but that was it.
I think it's hard for a lot of these movies to really live up to the hype. They're so ingrained with this a PR machine that it almost overinflates and under-delivers based on the hype. Like, it's so grandiose and, this is the greatest thing ever. And then you go to watch it and you're just like, that's not what was built up in my brain because of all the PR.
So it's the opposite of what they tell you in like small business, like under-promise, over-deliver.
Yes.
They over-promise and under-delivered.
Yes.
But they, like you said,
I don't think
they're almost doomed
purpose
to do that, because how can you live up to people's expectations?
Right, and that's my thinking here is that I wouldn't fault the Russo brothers on this. I think they did the best job, honestly, with the constraints that they obviously had, working for Marvel, that they had to include certain things, they had to do it a certain way. But I still think they crafted a fine movie. But I do think that it's part of a bigger machine that really just kind of, exists solely for promotion. And, fans are going to create in their head the movie that they want and the movie that they think they're going to get from the promotional materials. And then when they go to see it, they're just like, well, that's not what I envisioned. No. So I think it's also the same thing that Star Wars suffers from too.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where I think I have an advantage.
I think it's almost
over
more
you
so.
and Lane, because I have zero expectations on these Star Wars movies. I just go in and be like, well, let's see how you do. The two of you are like, please God, be the greatest thing ever.
No, I don't. Lane more than me. Yeah. I don't go, please God, be the greatest thing ever. I more or less go, okay, where are we going to take this story now? And I'm invested in it. But the one thing that I know I didn't do with Last Jedi that I know a lot of people did was really like dive deep into the theories that they were expecting. And I think that Star Wars lends itself to that because it's been around for so long. and so people have built up what the theories are going to be, and the Snoke theory. Who the fuck is Snoke? Well, at the end of the day, no one gave a shit. It's like he was MacGuffin number 2. Who got number 2 because he got sliced in half. But I mean that's my thinking about it. Is the hype wasn't necessarily from the PR, it was more from the fans creating the movie that they wanted and not getting it because every fan has their own version of what that movie should be.
Well, all I can say about Solo is don't get too excited because I think it's going to be the world's most expensive fart in church.
It's going to be Solo crap. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be. Oh, good talk.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, and not to almost immediately contradict myself, but I thought they did a good job of handling all of that, but at the same time, it was almost too much. Like, I do prefer Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or Winter Soldier because it's not 97 characters.
Yeah.
They couldn't have done it better than they did, but it's still, even doing it that well, it was almost just too much, too many characters, too many things. And I mean, it's strange to compare it to a completely different movie, but like 5 days later, I saw Isle of Dogs finally, and I liked that a hell of a lot more than I did Infinity War. And, some people might be like, well, why can you compare this to? Well, because Marvel and Disney are acting like this will be the best movie you see all year. Well, if that means you have to kind of compare it to every other movie, don't you? Not just other comic book movies.
Last time I checked, when you say it's the best movie of the year, that means that you have to see every movie of the year and then pick the best.
Yeah. So
that's I think what the definition of that is.
And I don't mean this as a dig or a slight, but I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10.
7, okay,
maybe 7.5 out of 10.
I'd give it an 8.
I've seen better superhero movies, and I've seen better Marvel movies.
Fair enough. I really give it an 8. The shit show that this could have been.
Oh yeah, this could have been.
This could have been really bad. Like this could have been Justice League times 10 bad.
Well, they've
fact
had a
we
very
didn't
good
get
track
that.
record. Is Iron Man 2 the worst of all of the 18? the 19
Iron Man
now?
2 gets a lot of crap. I actually like Iron Man 2.
What do you think is it Dark World? Like, what is the worst of the 19 Marvel movies?
If I had to pick the worst one, I would probably have to say Thor: The Dark World is.
Yeah.
Thor: The Dark World doesn't really offer anything more than, Thor and Loki back at it again with a forgettable villain. And maybe more Anthony Hopkins screen time.
Well, let us not forget the Edward Norton Hulk movie is Marvel canon.
Yeah.
So maybe that one.
That one's really bad, too. Like, really, really bad.
So that one goes on the Mount Rushmore.
I think if we had to pick 3.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you 3 here.
Okay.
The 3 would obviously have to be Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, and Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 solely because they tried to do a lot with that movie, and they had not yet figured out what the fuck they were doing. Like, they tried to throw elements from Demon in the Bottle, that storyline. They tried to throw elements, with S.H.I.E.L.D. and, tying in things with the history of Starks and all that stuff. That's great. That's great. It's missing the big picture, though. And I think that's why a lot of people didn't really get it, was because it was missing the bigger picture.
I would love to disagree with you just for the sake of, having a discussion on the show, but I think mine would be the same 3. You could make an argument for Doctor Strange, but I don't think...
I like Doctor
If you needed
Strange.
a Mount Rushmore, I think Doctor Strange. But that's only because these movies are usually pretty good.
Yeah.
That Doctor Strange, while it would not usually be on a mountain of crap...
I would say Doctor Strange's biggest fault is having
It's forgettable.
No, it's not forgettable. I would say it has forgettable secondary characters in it. Doctor Strange himself was not forgettable in that movie. Wong was not forgettable in that movie. Even the Ancient One wasn't really that forgettable, but the villain was obviously, mustache twirling. And it had a very forgettable love interest. Like, I couldn't tell you the fuck her name was.
Yeah, and she wasn't even in this one.
No, she was dead.
The thing is, I thought Doctor Strange was actually very
disintegrated.
good in this one. Just didn't really like his solo movie. But
Good.
Yeah. If you listen to all that and you haven't, I was about to say go see it, but if you sat through that and you haven't seen it yet, what the hell is wrong with you? I want to see what the
Seriously.
psychos have to say before I go to the theater.
So, John, where can they find it on the Twitter machine?
The Unreal J Wolves. Please tell me why I'm wrong about everything in Marvel and all the things that I said that were inaccurate.
Where can they find Lane at?
LA_Croft.
You can find me at Brian Content, also on the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw away, you want to talk to us a little bit about Avengers Infinity War, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and catch our new episode available every Sunday.
All right, Thanos, now turn your head and cough. That's my chin.
That's great.